Hello, it's Michael. Welcome to week 7. A quick recap. I got a couple of notices that these videos are helpful. So I'm going to do another one only because I do think one of my problems may be too many videos. And you can let me know this, but I know that if you had watched this one, for example, it would have helped focus a little bit more on what your sitemap is intended to do. And that is this topic of verbs. I know that seems abstract, but when you see it here, it's like, no, a verb is sort of like a story. It's a way to minimize the amount of things on top because you just don't have that much room. And my hope here is as you explored, you will use these navigation techniques. So even though you just did one of them, I hope you looked around to see other ones because you have to figure out this week where to put this stuff on a screen. So when I look here, I'm really interested basically in this top layer. These are the choices someone needs to make in order to explore further. And that's why I was trying to help out to say, yeah, you don't want too many of these. That can be choice paralysis. People can find it difficult. And you'll see, and that's actually what we're exploring this week. All of these techniques are there to help you use them, not necessarily to make some sort of deliverable that you've created this great website about X, but actually you're all just on the exploration of how do you organize data. And the final paper is you using these techniques to figure out how they organize data. And all the techniques will be easier or should be easy because you're going to contribute to their data model. So you'll know what their data model is. You'll see what their taxonomy is, et cetera, et cetera. You'll see kind of how they sitemap things because that's an interesting part too. You'll see what navigation styles they use. So all these are just techniques so that you can then analyze and understand how others do it. And the mastery of this is not intent. You're not supposed to be a master. This is a hard, lifelong, lifelong career. Really, it's hard to do. But I think it's these are the basics. These are the principles. And if you did say that you liked this video, and somehow I have fatigued you with too much information, please let me know because I do want to make it easier, but I also think you learn by trying something and then getting feedback. That's just my role here, I feel, is coaching, right? You're going to try something and I'll say, hey, good, and try this or something like that. I'm on your side. I know even for me, this is a difficult topic. If I was presenting this, I would also have a difficulty in many ways because it isn't something that I honestly don't think AI can do it either, which is why I think it's great to learn it. So as we go into week 7, which should be around here somewhere, we get into a great topic, which is wireframes. And for once, you're not going to see a video, right? I'm not going to have a, I'm not. I have maybe this, if you don't know what wireframing is, but it's going to put everything together, right? We're finally going to see these things that we've been doing all this time. You've been doing it with structure. And by the way, your structure will come in handy hopefully. And if you start to see why your structure is interesting, you're going to show your taxonomy and you're going to show your navigation. So I just put in a few things where, I don't know, I feel like there's always interesting ways to organize things that are non-typical. So this is about filtering. How do you take something that's really vast, like a bunch of imagery, and give it any sort of structure so people could understand it at all? And I think believe this is a Google thing. Yeah. Arts and Culture did a really nice job because boy, this is a lot of information to organize. So you need some really specialized things. You don't need this. We're going to use Figma to wireframe, and I think I did a thing. You've already used Figma. Also, if you just want to draw it on a piece of paper, this is one of my sketches. And what I'm really interested or what I wanted to focus on were what are the words and where do they go and what's kind of a hierarchy, right, of how things work. If the only reason you're going to use Figma is sooner or later you will have to cut and paste a lot. But even then, I'm kind of going to help you. And like you can actually use plugins. I know this is weird, but you can plug in Airtable into Figma. You don't have to do this, but it will actually fill things out for you. But it's a lot. It's a lot of work. But if you did this kind of repetitive work, it it's worthwhile. But either way, all I meant is if you want to start this week with a sketch, that's perfectly fine. One rule is you don't get to use color or imagery or anything. We always use this X thing because we're just looking really at the words. In fact, I've only been looking at the words for the past 7 weeks. And even now, I'm not really, wireframes are not about design. They're just about where hierarchically do things go. So I'm looking for a detail page. So this is one of your records. And what does it look like, right? What kind of formatting are you going to need? And what kind of, how do you visualize maybe those sections so that something makes sense next to another's sense? Then we're going to figure out how did we get here by putting in navigation. So you're going to try to think through like, hey, if I showed you one record, what were the choices needed in my navigation to get there? If it's like 7 choices, you might rethink that. That's a lot of choices. And that's usually the difficulty here. It's much easier to ask somebody to choose a lot of things and then you give them what they want, but people tend to not know what they want. So either way, we're going to do this in a browser size so we can see all those navigation items up front. Maybe you'll need sub navigation. So you chose one thing and then you chose another. That means, that's a different navigation style. So look back to the next week. That's my hints for this week. But as always, try it out. And I'm here to give you feedback and help you along the way of, just kind of discovering this one. This is just one. And then we're going to get into another thing next week where we're going to kind of demonstrate some more things. So this three thing, all these together are going to be assignment 2, right? So you've already gone and done one, which is the sitemap. Anyway, and you can still revise them. Again, the hope here is quick, right? The revision is part of this. And that's why we use this level of fidelity. It's why I also like an eraser, because I might change my mind a lot. Anyway, that's this week. Thank you for those who watch this video. And because maybe there's no video this week, others will watch it. We'll see.